We're going to talk about Eagle 2, A Secret History of the Deep State. In July 1989, the FBI authored a memo describing a CIA program codenamed Eagle 2. This memo gives a detailed timeline, beginning in the 1960s, of the covert operations that the CIA would use to avoid oversight and establish a shadow government above the American Congress. Drug dealing, gun smuggling, targeted killings, government coups, and financial fraud in hundreds of billions of dollars, all committed under the shadowy hand of an international cabal of elite politicians, financiers, and intelligence agents. This is the birth of the deep state. And it's interesting because last video I was talking about how Eisenhower sent two CIA agents over to Area 51. They were both directors. One of them was an assistant director, to find out what was going on over there after the personnel at Area 51 told Eisenhower that he had no jurisdiction there. And it's my belief that the shadow government that was operating out of Area 51 ended up infiltrating the CIA after that happened. And I've got some reasons to believe that. I don't really have strong evidence for that, but and I know that the Project Blue Book files are very controversial because a lot of them, the point of it was to cover the reports up. But some of the files seem to suggest just what I was mentioning there. And next we're going to talk about this interview that Trump did over the weekend, where he says he's going to break the deep state. On Sunday, in an interview with Cheryl Atson, President Trump said, quote, "I have a chance to break the deep state." And so let's see what the information or the gist of that conversation was. Quote, "What am I doing? I'm fighting the deep state," Trump said in an exclusive interview with Full Measure. "I'm fighting the swamp. If it keeps going the way it's going, I have a chance to break the deep state. It's a vicious group of people. It's very bad for our country," unquote, Trump said in an interview on Sunday. In the wide-ranging interview with Full Measure, set to air Sunday, Trump also addressed the debate over whether religious services should remain closed, calling them, quote, essential services. He says it's time for them to open. Also addressed in the interview the controversy over using the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine for coronavirus prevention or treatment. Trump says he just finished a 2-week course of the drug for preventative purposes after 2 White House staffers were diagnosed with coronavirus. Quote, "I'm still here to the best of my knowledge," he says, unquote. The president also talked about the strengths and weaknesses of his political opponent in the presidential race, Joe Biden. Is he still actually think he's going to run? His own Twitter practices, the new director of national intelligence, John Ratcliffe, and the scandal over FBI surveillance abuses. So that was pretty interesting information. And I think the only chance of anyone beating Trump would be in a Republican in the primaries, winning the primaries, and Trump not even winning the primaries. That would be probably the best chance if people seriously wanted to find a better leader than Trump. Would be maybe to find another Republican candidate to beat him in the primaries and to run for president. I just don't see anyone out of the Democratic Party that can really oppose Trump at this point in time. They'd probably have a better chance with an independent. Coming up in just a few minutes, we have a caller from Brazil, Guilherme, and I hope I pronounced that correct. I apologize if I didn't. And we're going to talk about this UFO in above the skies of Magé, Brazil, that was seen around May 13th, and supposedly the U.S. military was there in Brazil to chase this object. And there's a lot of interesting information, a lot of reports, including reports of ETs. So we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But first, one more story that I found a little bit interesting this week, and it's Senator Kamala Harris out of California. She's a California senator, and she introduced a resolution condemning, quote, anti-Asian sentiment as related to COVID-19, unquote, including the use of the phrase, quote, Wuhan virus. The former presidential candidate introduced the bill on behalf of a number of Democrats to condemn, quote, all manifestations or expressions of racism, xenophobia, discrimination, anti-Asian sentiment, scapegoating, and ethnic or religious intolerance, unquote, and, quote, to expeditiously investigate and document all credible reports of hate crimes, incidents, and threats against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community in the United States. The resolution claims a study found over 400 cases of anti-Asian discrimination related to COVID-19 between February 7th and March 9th. The resolution takes particular aim at phrases such as, quote, Wuhan virus, unquote, and, quote, Chinese virus, Kung flu, for perpetrating, quote, anti-Asian stigma. It calls on the U.S. to recommit to building an inclusive society by prioritizing language access and inclusivity in communication practices. And I think it's interesting because we were just talking about Trump and Trump claiming he's going to drain the swamp. And, you know, they're blaming it all on China. Trump's blaming it all on China, and that makes me question Trump and if he's fit to lead, because that's very dishonest. We've got all kinds of information. I covered it in previous videos of U.S. funding and engineering of this COVID-19 bioweapon. So for them to blame it all on China, I think is dishonest, and I dare say that Kamala Harris, being a Democrat that she is, and more of an independent that tends to side with the Republicans, I think she's got some points, and certainly it doesn't seem really quite fair, and you know, obviously I believe in the Constitution to the fullest, and especially the First Amendment and Second Amendment, and free speech and all that. So I don't know really if how far she is kind of pushing this, but on the other hand, or if I agree with it. But on the other hand, I agree with her points. But you don't want to become unconstitutional either. So the only other thing I want to mention is, you know, Trump talks about draining the swamp on one hand, but he's not holding people who had a hand in funding and engineering the coronavirus and COVID-19 U.S. involvement. He's not holding them accountable from what I've seen so far, and certainly Dr. Fauci would be a prime offender in that. And I've got Trump recently, last week, he had a speech. He gave a speech right at the White House, where actually no, it was a speech, but I'm confusing speeches though. He had a couple of speeches last week. One of them, he said that Dr. Fauci, I actually put it in a video, so you guys can check out my COVID-19 videos, but he said that Dr. Fauci is, quote, a very good person, unquote. And he had another interview at the White House where Dr. Fauci was standing behind him like a handler, and the whole message, the whole point of the speech was they were promoting a vaccine. And it sounded like they were talking about the military being involved in the vaccine, And it's kind of scary because a lot of people say that Dr. Fauci already patented a vaccine and that it's going to include a nanochip, and that Bill Gates he invested in the vaccine, and so did George Soros. And there's a lot of interesting information. Maybe we can get into that some more as we move forward. But coming up next, we've got a guest from Brazil. He's going to call in and be on the show and give us some information about this UFO above the skies of Magé around May 13th, that supposedly the U.S. military was there in Brazil and pursuing these UFOs. So here's one witness that says, thank you for your video. Good work. I lived for 1 year in the Magé district 10 years ago. Now I live in the mountains behind Magé in the district of Petropolis. And I'll show on screen, you guys can see this map, and I circled Petropolis and I circled Magé, and Petropolis is actually very close to Magé. It's just a little bit north. He continues, I recently observed 2 identified phenomena in the sky which definitely has nothing to do with regular aviation or satellites, meteors, etc. So thank you, Remos, for that information. I appreciate it. And then I've got one more I can share with you guys. Luckily, this next one, I was able to get the person to come on the show, so they're going to be joining us shortly. But they told me, I'm from Brazil, and yes, this is real, and yes, Americans were seen in the region. Despite the fake videos trying to discredit the case, there is rumors about an American special team operating in the search, because when something falls from the sky, there's always operations with Americans or the U.S. military behind the Brazilian army involved in a recovery mission. And this time was no different. Just like the Virginia case, the Brazilian military knew the object was malfunctioning or falling, probably NORAD giving information to Brazilian intel. So this object dropped or ejected something in the woods, and Brazilian Army helicopters searched for days from the sky, and he's actually going to talk to us about that. He witnessed some of the search. He continues, I don't think they've used ground troops like before. Maybe the American team was on the ground, but he can't confirm it. Also, there's reports about the beings, the ETs, which I found really interesting, and that they in appearance have dark skin, large heads, black eyes, and they're tall. And he says, by the way, there's a good disinformation campaign and cover-up also happening, and that it's very sad. So coming up next, we're going to have Guilherme from Brazil. He's going to call into the show and talk about that some more with us. We'll be right back. But I agree. I agree with you. But the only thing with Davies is he's so smart and he has so much information that
Yes.
and I'm pretty good at, usually I can figure out what people are saying. So I mean, I was like hanging on his every word just to listen to what he had to say, because he had a lot of information. He's
Yes.
really the one who made this story, who um if it wasn't, in my opinion, if it wasn't for Davies Balthazar, um Daniel
You would
Groff.
be wait. You would be. You cannot. He is the one who make possible to people in other countries to know the story, right?
In
That's
my
what you talk
opinion,
about.
because Daniel Grothe was the one who first started talking about this story, and he didn't have any information until he got Davies on his show, and Davies started giving him all the information, and that's why when
Yeah.
I Daniel was said I could interview him, and we had it all set up, but then he ran out of time, and I had all my material ready. And I said to myself, well, I'm not going to, sit around here and wait because then he was talking about interviewing next week. I said, no, I want to present this information. So I did it by myself. But normally I don't go
Yes.
on the camera because the audio isn't as good. So what I got to get some new equipment. I got to get a new camera so I can do the video and the audio will still sound good. But so this one's just going to be in the studio, so the audio will sound perfect. But
Uh-huh.
I I uh, I definitely was hoping to because one of the first thing I was going to ask Daniel Grothe was I was going to say, how did you get Davies on your show? I wanted to, that was going to be the first thing I was going to ask him. How do you know Davies? How did you, that was pretty good that he was able to get him on the show. And then Davies, I subscribe to his channel, even though I don't, I'm maybe I can learn Portuguese or and be able to understand.
Yes.
But
This is a question I want to know. How do you know Davis? How do you know the story or Davis? Because he speaks Portuguese, no? How it was possible to you to know the story if his videos are not in English,
right.
in Portuguese? How it was possible to you?
For me or for Daniel?
Who is Daniel?
Daniel Grothe is the host of the talk show that interviewed Davies, and it's called Was ist das, and it's a German talk show, but even though it's German, they speak English though. And
Ah, okay.
yeah, and when Davies called in, he was doing his best to speak English, and he was doing good enough. I was able to understand probably 99% of what Davies was
Uh-huh.
saying. I could understand him.
All right, all right.
So, but
I was
yeah.
thinking that it was very hard for an American to understand his English. I could understand his English. I think it's good, but I think that I thought that it was not possible to American to understand his English.
Oh no, I could, and that's who I got all my information from was mostly from Davies, and then Daniel also had some pretty good information, and he was exchanging it back and forth with Davies. The only thing is, I didn't know that Daniel and Davies had YouTube channels. That's why I put
Um,
the interview. I just thought it was a Skype podcast interview that was on the internet. I didn't know it was on YouTube, so I put it on YouTube thinking, okay, I'm doing YouTube a big favor by putting this on YouTube. It's not on YouTube yet, because when I searched for Wazis Das on the internet, uh, that's Daniel's show. Nothing came up. His YouTube channel didn't come up. Nothing came up. Like if you search my channel, Officer UFO One, my every on the internet, my YouTube channel, everything comes up. It pops right up. But his didn't turn up, so I didn't even know he had a YouTube channel. And then what happened was after I listened, because that was a long interview. It was over 2 hours that he interviewed
yes,
Davies Balthazar. So
it was very long.
during the second part of it that I was trying to just put not the whole thing on YouTube, but just the best parts of it. And during the second video that I made, they were talking about
Yeah.
Davies' channel. So I'm like, oh, so Davies has a channel. So then what I did was after I made my video, I looked on YouTube and I looked for Davies Balthazar, and I didn't find Davies' channel, but I found the interview that Daniel did, and I found Daniel's channel, the one Wazis Das. And so then now I found Daniel, and then Daniel saw that I made a video with his podcast, and he said, "Hey, can you mention my website to everybody? Here's my website." So then now I had his website also. So I pretty much promoted Daniel's channel and his website, and because I don't want to use somebody else's content, but I didn't know
Yeah,
that it
yes.
was on YouTube. If I knew it was on YouTube, I wouldn't have probably made those videos. But he said it was okay, and I told him now that I know he has a channel, I'll just tell everyone to go to his channel. But and then what I did was I
Yeah,
found once I went to Daniel's channel. Daniel, I mean his website. He had a link for Davies' channel, and I also subscribed to Davies. Davies has a very big channel. His
yes.
his channel's even bigger than my channel.
The main objective in this whole thing is to make the story go to came to the Americans, to the Europeans in Italy, in Germany. We need to make this story to go to make it alive. This story cannot die because we have a lot of good ufologists working in this case, but most of them don't speak English, and this is a problem because the story will not be known in other countries. We must do everything to make the story go international, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and you're definitely helping with that, with coming on my show. By the way, so what if you're comfortable with that, we can preface the program with that, and then I'll welcome you to the show now. Welcome to the show.
Yes, yes, no problem.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I don't know how you want to introduce yourself. If you want to remain anonymous, or if you want to, give your name. It's up to you. But if you want, we can start by doing that.
Well, my name is Guilherme. I live in southern Brazil. I was in Rio de Janeiro and 2 weeks ago, and then something happened. We see everything happening in the Twitter, in the social media, and we started to search in YouTube to find what is going on. No, and then we found a lot of videos of people making videos from objects, as we see, red objects, blue objects, all kind of objects. And then, to me, it was just another case when we see a video and nothing goes on, just videos. And so I have gone to the region. I was there in Rio de Janeiro, and I talked to people in the region. I'm not a professional ufologist. I just know Virginia case. It's a famous case in Brazil, 1996. I don't know if you ever heard about it, but I studied that case, and I have seen some similarities with that case. It was people talking about a crash, people talking about some kind of being, creature in the woods. To me, it sounds very close with Virginia case in 1996. And so I started to research on the internet, more videos coming. Later, I saw a video about an explosion, and then I figured out that the case it was very serious, you know. And now I want to what I want to do is to make the case known by the maximum people as possible, to make more people come to the region and research the case. Because I'm not a professional, I don't live near that region. I'm not there. I'm not there anymore. I'm here in my house in southern Brazil. So all I can do now is to research it on internet. Okay. I don't know if you want to make specific question about the case, but I don't have so much information. What I have is some 4 or 5 people who talked to me and said some things that I consider very important to the case. Okay, it's a testimony about what they saw in the sky, and some things about they heard. Sometimes they talk about what they didn't see, but what they heard. So we need to confirm some questions, some information. There's a lot of information I know it's fake. There's a lot of videos I know it's fake. There's a lot of disinformation. People sharing videos that I know it's fake, and this is not contributing with the case. We need more people, serious people engaged with this case, so we can go ahead with further informations, further investigations.
I definitely agree with you. And the Virginia case, I did look into that. I never heard about that until I was listening to Davies Balthazar and Daniel Groth. I'm not sure if he's pronounced Groth or Grothy. I'll just say Daniel. But and then what I did was I looked into that case on my own to get more information because they just mentioned it. They didn't really talk about it. But
Yes, Virginia case is known. It's known in Brazil like a Roswell, a Brazilian Roswell. This is what they call in Brazil because it was very close of what happened in Roswell in New Mexico. We have military testimony in videos. Despite these videos are not public yet, we need to make those videos public. There's 2 or 3 ufologists in Brazil who has this video with military testimony. And I think in this case specifically, the Magé case, we need military testimony. Without that, the case will not be taken seriously as he deserves. Because common people saying that they saw a light in the sky is not enough to make the case serious, if you know what I mean. And so military people is very important. And as far as I know, military testimony in this case will be very hard to know. I don't think we have military. I don't think we have military people in the region who will be interested in talking about that. And I don't think the military of the region participated directly in this case. I think they brought military from other places. As I talked with the people in the region, they said they saw people, military people, haircut style, but people not from the region. They saw people speaking English in the region. So this is very important because it makes the case very close to the Virginia case, where we have American participation directly on the crash. So
okay.
that's it. No.
So they were talking about also during the Virginia incident that the U.S. military was involved in that as well.
Yes, in the Virginia case, yes, I know because we have a lot of information. The NORAD participating in the case. The NORAD, I think NORAD participated in this case too because the Brazilian authorities already know this object was coming to the region. This is, in my opinion, this is why the military is so effective in hiding everything and doing the capture and search because they already know what's going on, what come to the region, how the object was, where it falls. So this make it very easier to the military to act because in Virginia case they were expecting the object falls in the area where they know it was fall. So they used the Brazilian authorities to go there and to hide, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and for anyone that isn't aware, NORAD, of course, is the North American Aerospace Defense Command, and it is a combined organization of the United States and Canada that provides aerospace warning, air sovereignty.
Mexico is not included, right? It's North American, right? Canada and the United States.
Yeah, but you know, they cover, you know, more area than just our airspace. They cover they probably, it says here, um, well, the headquarters is located at Peterson Air Force Base in El Paso County, near
Yeah.
Colorado Springs, Colorado. But
Yes.
let's see.
What I know about the Virginia case that I think is very similar to this case in specific, the Brazilian authorities, the Brazilian military, and the Brazilian government has an agreement with the American government when everything who falls from the sky, some kind of satellites, or some kind of unidentified objects, the Brazilian authorities always give this kind of objects to the American authorities. This is I know this has happened because it happened before, not only in Virginia case, but in all other countries and other cases in Brazil. The whole South America has an agreement with the American government for that cases, for those cases.
Yeah, and you know, there's other organizations that work with NORAD, like the PACOM, that's the United States Pacific Command, and they cover like
Yes.
Hawaii, Guam, and the Pacific region. And then in Brazil, I believe you guys have SINDACTA. That's your air
Yeah.
defense command, I believe, and they work with NORAD as well.
Yes. Sindacta, it's the Brazilian. It's a Brazilian NORAD, I think, and they have all the contacts with NORAD. So we know that all that falls from the sky, it's NORAD who's informed, in Sindacta act based on that. Yeah, this is what we know here. The ufologists who studied this case, those cases, we know that. In this case, which was not different. And other thing that I can see is the Brazilian authorities do not make any capture or search mission from the ground. They used helicopters or choppers. I don't know how to say it exactly, but it's helicopters, right? So they do not use ground troops anymore. It was all they did was from the sky with helicopters, a lot of helicopters. And from what I talked to the people in the region, they know those helicopters are not common. It's not normal to see that number of helicopters in the air. And the helicopters searched for days in the woods. It's not a day, 1 day mission. It was a week mission. I was there in the Rio de Janeiro, and I was working there, and the search mission was happening for 3 or 4 days. We saw the videos coming to the internet, people publishing the YouTube. I myself, I didn't see any of those helicopters. I didn't see anyone, but we know because the videos are there, and there's a lot of helicopters in not common helicopters. It's helicopters from the army.
Military, yeah. So now you actually witnessed some of the military search in that area, and then was that starting around May 14th, the following day, in that period of time?
Yes,
Okay.
actually, the first thing that caught my attention was we have in Brazil a journal. It's the most known journal in Brazil. It's called Jornal Nacional, National Journal, and people were talking about interference in the journal. I have images. I don't know if you saw anything, but there are videos showing the journal was off in air. The signal was off, and the journal was interrupted. In the same moment, the UFOs were seen in the sky in the region. So for us who study those cases of UFOs, we know that those objects, they have some kind of interference, gravitational interference. They cause that, and it's what we think it's probably because the UFOs in the region. So I have images. I have the video here. The journal was cut off from the air. And for me, it was very clear that because those UFOs, it was because the UFOs in the region, because that never happened. It's a big TV station. This has never happened.
Interesting. So, would that have been, was that power outage the night of May 13th? Did it begin around that night?
It was, I think it was 14,
On the 14th?
14, 14. I
Because,
will confirm that later, but it was in the first days, of the, because as I said to you, the mission was the people seeing objects in the air following for days. So we know it is not just one day. It was 4 days. The objects were seen even in the last week. I have
okay.
videos here, people seeing a lot of objects in the air in the same region.
And it looks like you guys have one, two, three. It looks like you have four Syndactas, and I believe that Syndacta 2, which has the headquarters in Brasilia, was probably the ones who cover the airspace for Magé, it looks like.
Yes, the Sindacta from Brasilia. I need to confirm that, but I think it's the cover area is Rio de Janeiro. It takes Rio de Janeiro and other regions like São Paulo too.
And do you think that the power outage was done by the military as part of the cover up to kind of shut everything down, so the media couldn't get the story and put it out there very quickly, and it would give them a chance for a cover up? Or do you have a feeling that the power outage may have actually been a result of the actual crash hitting some sort of power structure?
Well, I have talked to 4 people who told to me about explosions in the area. Those explosions already exist normally, but in those cases it was a very powerful explosion, much more powerful than before. And they said to me the mobile signal was off. They could not make any call from the mobile. It was very strange. That never happened before.
Interesting.
This is something very important because people were told me about this kind of signal off, and that explosion. I have 2 ufologists with the YouTube channel, the Arthur Sergio Neto and Cristiano. I don't know his name, but he told me about this explosion too. It was a powerful explosion. I don't know if that explosion is something that they want to hide or it's a common explosion, because in that region there's a company, they make weapons for the Brazilian army,
Okay.
for the
And you're talking
for the
about the
Brazilian.
IMBEL Ordnance Company, correct?
Yes, it's called Imbel.
Okay. And is
They produce weapons.
and that's the area where you guys believe the explosions that caused the power outage took place, and not somewhere near that property?
Yes, the explosions happen in Imbel, but not the kind of explosion they are used to listen. It was a very powerful explosion, so much powerful, and they don't know what it is. And I can't say what it is because it's I need to confirm some information to say that. I cannot say.
And the the military that you witnessed around the May 14th for several days, was that in the area of the IMBEL ordinance property, or was that in the area of the Suburbo River up in the mountain?
It was in the outskirts of the city. It's not in Bell and not close to Imbel. It's in the outskirts of Magé. So people talking about these guys who speak English, and they never seen those guys in the region. That's what they told me. I cannot say they were military. I don't know if they were American, but they speak English. They were not from the region. They were from a different ethnic group. So for me, it fits on the case, you know. But I cannot confirm that too. It's just information that people say. But I talked to two people who saw those kind of guys in the region. So two people. It's not a lot of people, just two. So we need to have more people there to investigate those testimony.
Do you believe that there was only one UFO crash, and also the other thing wasn't a UFO but was a escape pod, like that the beings used to escape? Is that, because it almost sounded like that's what some people were saying, that it wasn't the two UFOs that crashed, that it was one UFO that was going down and was going to crash, and then they also used some sort of an escape pod, and that was the second thing that went down to the ground. Is that your understanding, or was it two different UFOs?
Well, what I know is, from my information, it's there's no crashes. What happened there? It was some kind of ejection. The object ejected something, and then it go back to the sky. You know, it was not a crash. Okay,
Interesting.
I,
And
there's no
then,
crash because
oh, sorry.
when you had a crash, you had a you must see you have to see trucks in the region. They have to transport these objects in some place, and there's no testimony or witness of some kind of truck transporting anything. If it was a crash, maybe they transported the object in the night with a helicopter, but this is I cannot confirm that. But what I think it's some kind of ejection. The object ejected something in the area, and then it go back to the sky.
The only thing is, we have the two locations. We have the location of the IMBEL near that property, and then we have the location of the Suburbo River. So, in your opinion, do you think that the we'll call it an escape pod or something that ejected out of the craft, do you think that it landed near the Imbel ordnance property or up in Suburbo River in the mountain?
What I heard is we have two images. No, we have one video from where you can see in the in the entry of the Imbel, you can see a smoke. I don't think. I think you saw this video, no?
Yeah,
It's
did
a
you see
video
the
where
video of something coming down out of the sky to the ground? And it looked like it was on fire. Did you see that video too?
yes, I have this video here, and in my opinion, that object did not fall. He get down, ejected, and go back to the sky. He did not stay there. You know,
Oh,
it
wow.
was not it was not a crash. He was there ejecting something, and then he get back to the sky. And but there's another video where you can see a smoke in the woods. It's in Bell, the region of Imbel, and that probably or not, I cannot confirm that. If it was a crash, probably that place could be the crash site. But the other crash didn't happen for me.
In Suburbo River,
Maybe
you mean?
yes, in the suburban.
So you don't
But
see evidence to support that claim then?
Yes, I don't see any evidence. I don't like to say something that I didn't see, you know. There is
Yes,
ufology.
because
There is a
truth
lot of
matters.
ufology.
I agree with you.
Yes,
Truth matters, and we're trying to present the truth to the audience, and we don't want,
yes.
I agree with you. We don't want to make anything up or.
We don't want fantasy, you know. We don't want some a fantasy story. I can
But
only say what I have seen and what I have heard. I don't want to make any kind of fantasy.
did you see the comment that the person claiming to be a military person that they left? I covered it in a video, but they left it on um, Daniel. He's the host of Was It Dast Skype podcast. He left that comment on his website. Did you see that comment?
I didn't see what comment was. Can you say to me?
That it was the comment from somebody claiming to be in the military. They left the comment in Brazilian, and then it got translated into English. And
Ah, okay. Yes, I have seen this comment. I have seen.
that was the
It's a
person.
report.
That's where we got the information, though. That was the person that claimed that there was a crash in the Suburbo River, and that and then he gave two coordinates. He gave the coordinates for longitude and latitude for the river, and then he gave another set of coordinates near a lake where he said that two ETs were fled to, and that's when the military was chasing them.
Yes, there's too another audio. I received it in the WhatsApp. Do you know WhatsApp? It's a chat program. Do you use WhatsApp? I don't know if you use that, but WhatsApp it's very popular in Brazil, and we received a lot of audios from people saying they saw the object in a river. This river, we didn't find this river yet. We don't know if it's a lake, it's a river. There's no confirmation about that. The audios that I received have been confirmed to be fake, testifying the object in a river. This is what I saw in the video from a very professional ufologist. He he searched for the guy who made this audio, and he found out that this audio is fake. So I cannot confirm that too, but maybe later we can find something about this lake or this river. For me now, there's nothing about that, and there's no crash in the river.
Okay, and who was the UFO researcher that said that he couldn't confirm the information from the audio? It wasn't A.J. Javard, was it?
No, it's not Jever. I just hold on a second. I can find it here. His name is Cristiano. I don't know his full name, but he's Cristiano.
Okay.
His channel is called Contato OVNI Ufologia. It's a it's a Brazilian channel. It's a Brazilian channel from ufology.
Maybe later you can leave me a link and I'll put a link in the description of the video and people can check it out if they want to check it out and then they could make
Yes,
their own opinion.
he's a professional ufologist. He's very serious. He was in the region talking to everybody in there. They have a group of ufologists. They are not people interested in fantasy. They are very serious. I have seen all these videos of them, and maybe no later I give you the link for so you can watch his videos. Maybe I can translate these videos for your channel too. I can put some subtitles in those videos to make the case to be able to people in other countries to see his investigations.
So we have Guilherme on the show. He called in from Brazil. And for anyone that's just joining us, we're talking about the Magé Brazil UFO incident, and he's got some information and stuff. A lot of the information is in Brazil, so he's able to speak both I believe it's Portuguese, correct?
Yeah.
And then English as well. So he's giving us information that may only be available in Portuguese. And we're very thankful for that. For the audience, we'll appreciate your information. And then you were talking about beings as well, with dark skin, large head, black eyes that were tall. Did you want to talk about that information, where you got that information? Are you still with us? We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome back to the show.
Sorry, my mobile, the battery is gone.
Oh, okay.
It's recharging now.
Okay. Okay, so is that why you switched mics?
Yes, I switched. I am in the PC now.
All right, well, at least you can stay on with us a little bit longer. I did have a few more questions to ask you, so I appreciate it. We know that your other mic isn't as good as the other one was, but that's okay. I did see that you left that link, and I'll share that with the audience. Does it show actual footage of the being, or does it just talk about people? What, you want to talk about that information?
Okay, that is the journal that I said, the interference. If you see the video, you can see the interference, and that interference in the transmission from the journal, it's very, it happened in the same moment people were filming the objects in the air, in the region of Magé, you know. So this is, and people are saying this coincidence, you know.
And you're talking about the power outage, correct?
Can you repeat, please?
Are you and you're referring to the power outage when the power went out?
No, the power out was in the region of Magé that I said that people told me that they got the mobile phone not working. Even the even the signal from the people cannot call each other, and mobile was not able to work. It was powered off, you know.
Okay. So then you're talking in this video, it was just interference. It wasn't a complete power failure, but it was some sort of interference in the broadcast, if I understand correctly.
Yes, the interference in the broadcast.
Okay. And I will show some of that in the video for the audience. They'll be able to see it on the screen. I'll provide that, and it's on YouTube channel JTS Play. And then you also I see that you gave me a couple of photos. I'll put those on the screen for the audience as well. Do you want to explain these photos?
Yes, those pictures of the light in a daylight. There are two pictures. Those pictures is to me, from what I spoke to the people on the region, it's one of those objects who ejected some kind of being or creature in the region, and it was not a crash because the people that I spoken in the region said to me that this light did not crash on that place. The light after that video, the light got off to the sky again. So it was not a crash. People are saying that there is a crash, but in this case, specific case, it was not a crash. Could have a crash. I cannot say that there isn't a crash, but in this case specific, I have talked to the people in the region, and they saw this object, and the object get out the sky again.
So did it sound like this object? You say it shot a beam towards one of the beings. Do you think maybe it beamed the being down to the ground, or picked him up to the ship?
I think I think in this moment they ejected something. I don't think they were rescuing some kind of creature. They were ejecting because those objects were malfunctioning. They were not working properly. I don't know if it was a ship. I don't know what is. We call these objects orbs here in Brazil. I don't know if you call in United States they call orbs too, but because we can't see any metallic structure, we cannot see anything. All we can see is a light, nothing but a light.
Okay, and yeah, we do call them orbs, and sometimes people there's a couple of different theories about the orbs. Some people say that the orbs are actually living beings, and they can transform or change shape, and that's how they fly. And then some people say that it could be a ship that's changing shape, or it's disguised as an orb. So there's different theories about that. And then I also got the link that you gave me for Contatto Ovni Ufologia, and I'll leave a link in the description so people can check him out. He's the UFO investigator that you were telling us about, it looks like.
Yes, he has a group of ufologists. I don't know the exact name, but I think it's Contato OVNI Ufologia mesmo. This is the name, I think. But they are three guys. They are professional ufologists. They are very serious. I've always watched their videos, and they are very serious. They do not fantasy anything. They brought information that they collect in the region. There's no inventions.
But there were no actual videos taken of the beings, is that correct?
No, there's no videos. Okay, we respect. I don't think that's a video will come in the next weeks. This is very not probably possible, because if something is shown, I always have my doubts, because there's a lot of fakes on internet, and for me it's very hard to take some kind of footage of some creature of being. The military would not allow something like this to happen. They are so prepared to those kind of situations. They will not be able. It's not be possible to take some kind of footage of this. I don't think so.
But the information you gave me, though, you got it from this video that you gave me the link to, is that correct? The video that's in Brazil? I mean, Portuguese?
Yes, I will try in the next days to translate those videos to English, so good information can be seen by the Americans or anybody from other countries too, who have interest in this case. I think it's important. Like, it's very important to you to interview Brazilians in this situation, not only me, but as maximum people you can. And in my opinion, it's important to you to always read the comments session because you can always find very good information in the comments. There's a lot of people in the region that will probably never talk about the case, but in most cases they have seen something very interesting. They have seen very good things, but we lack people. We lack people who can go there and interview these people. So, and those people don't have any kind of mean to say what they want to say. You know, YouTube sometimes they cannot upload videos because they are not so they do not have so, I don't know the word. It's very hard to explain.
Maybe does YouTube maybe they remove them? Is that what you're saying? They get censored?
Oh, not this way. There's a lot of people in the region, but they are poor people, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of poverty in the region, so they are not used to internet, YouTube, you know, to make videos and upload. And those people have some precious information. I don't know if you can understand.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's not easy to you know, you have to learn how to make videos and upload them, and it's a lot of people don't know how to do it, and it took me time to learn. And then the pictures of the orbs, can you confirm that that's in Brazil?
Yes, I can confirm. Those two pictures, they are not pictures, they are videos. I took a screenshot from the videos, but there are videos from those screenshots, you know, and they are from the region. I can confirm that. I have talked to the people who knows the people who make these videos, but I cannot find the people who made the video. Maybe later we can try to find these people. The people who made this video will be very important to the case, because for me it's one of the most clear images from the UFO to this moment. At least one of those UFOs, you know.
Not only that, but these are the only daytime ones that I've seen. And then hopefully, maybe if you do want to translate some of this other information, and I can have you back on the show again, maybe in a day or two, whenever you're ready. That would be really good. I'd love to have you back. And what did you think? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, for me there's no problem. I can translate what people saying in those videos, because this is important too, because sometimes they say something that is important to understand the video, you know. But I know that the people is from the region. But you can go ahead, please.
Before we wrap it up, I do have a couple of things I wanted to talk about real quick. Before we talk about the video that people are saying it looks like a dog bowl, I just wanted to go back to the Roswell crash again real quick, because it's interesting that you mentioned Roswell, because in Roswell we have a French, Richard French. He's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, and he said, quote, there were actually 2 crashes at Roswell, which most people don't know. And he says, quote, the first one was shot down by an experimental U.S. airplane that was flying out of White Sands, New Mexico, and it shot what was effectively an electronic pulse type weapon that disabled and took away the controls of the UFO. So basically, this gentleman from the Air Force says that we shot down the 2 Roswell UFOs, and a lot of people don't know that. So
Yes, I have studied the Roswell case too. I know not everything, but I know a lot of good information too. Many documentaries and readings, and I believe it was shot, and I believe that all those crashes that we heard in all those cases, they were shot, because it's very hard to believe those objects simply fall from the sky from malfunctioning or some kind of problem. You know, I think the Americans are behind those crashes because Brazilian army and Brazilian armed forces, they don't have, I don't believe they have any kind of weapon that could make those objects fall from the sky. I believe that always that some kind of the crashes happens, I think Americans are behind. And they have, I think they have weapons of plasma. I don't know what kind of technology, but they have this technology all around the globe. I know they have this kind of weapon in Australia. There's a famous video from NASA, SCTS mission, where we can see some kind of weapon being shot to the space and some kind of object trying to not being shot. I don't know if you ever seen this video. It's a NASA mission and a video that came in public. And for me, Americans are always behind those crashes, especially in South America, where we know that the South American countries, they don't have any kind of technology to make some kind of damage in these objects, you know.
Yeah, and they talk about different advanced weapons that the U.S. military has. They talk about electromagnetic pulse weapons. They talk about scalar weapons. And then we also hear about these ASAT weapons that it's almost like a satellite, and it shoots down from low Earth orbit. And I forget the name of those, but if you want to share that video footage of the one you were talking about where it was shooting, I can put that on the screen in the video. It's if you want to share that at some point, maybe after the interview, you can share it in Discord, and it's going to take me a little while to make the video, and what I'll do is I can include it. If you can find it, I'll put it in there. But I wanted to ask you, do you think it's safe to say that the military was okay? So you already got it. Good, thank you. Do you think it's safe to say that the military was definitely chasing UFOs in the skies above Magé?
I don't think that happened in the skies of Magé. I think those kind of damage in those objects, they happen in the low orbit. This is what I think. In this video that I sent to you, this is very clear. So they have some kind of weapon. They inflict damage in a low orbit to these objects, and the object start to malfunction and some kind of damage. They start to fall, and when they start to fall, the NORAD can some kind of they know where this object is going to fall because they have some kind of technology like a radar to see where those objects are, and they can calculate some kind of a way to where those objects are going. And I think, in my opinion, they knew that those objects were going to the region of Magé. And when they know where this object is going, they start they prepare some kind of military response to that. You know, in Virginia case that I told to you, it happened that way. We know because we have a lot of testimony. I think in Magé it happened that way too, because the military is very fast to respond on this case. You know, it was not possible that they don't know, because if something falls from the sky in the region, probably people who were able to see those objects first and not the military. So I am very secure that the military always know where those objects are going, at least the region, not the place exactly, but the region.
Okay, and before we wrap it up, because I'd rather have you back when you get the better mic. That other mic sounded a lot better, and but before we wrap it up, I wanted to ask your opinion about this video that some people are saying it looks like a dog bowl.
Right. For me, this video it's fake. It's not true because it looks very small. So the proportion of that object is very small. It doesn't look like a real object to me. And I don't know. Maybe later we can have some kind of information of who did this video. Uh, so for that, we need more people involved in the case and investigating. I cannot say what it is, this object, but for me, my first impression is that this is not real. I know Davis Baltazar from the other channel. He looked at the object. He thinks it's something, but it's his opinion. I don't think it's something real. For me, it's not real. You know.
Well, I'm on they call it on the fence. When you're on the fence, that's when you're undecided, and that's where I'm at right now, and I'll explain why. It looks like the camera is zoomed in, which is why the dirt or the grass looks kind of like such big chunks. And if that's true, then the object does look like it's kind of small. The only thing is, there's a couple of other thoughts I have about it, though. There is the blue light in the background that hasn't been explained. And if that's just let's say that's just a dog bowl, well then why, what about the blue light? I wonder about that blue light. And then the only other thing about the dog bowl, people say that it's a dog bowl. Well, most dog bowls, and I showed you pictures, 90% of dog bowls are not shaped like that. They have like a flat bottom, or they have the bottom is designed so that it doesn't tip over, and that type of bowl would tip over easily or get knocked over and it would spill. And they even have one company that makes a holder so that you can put those bowls in the holder so that the dog doesn't spill it. So I'm not sure. And then the other thing is, a lot of the ones that are not a good design because they could spill, they're not really round. They're more of a straight taper. So I'm not sure. And then you know what else you have to think about? When they do like a disinformation and cover-ups, it's possible that they take the most common UFO, whatever the most common UFO is that visits Earth, and they say, okay, we're going to design something and sell something that looks like it. So, for example, we're going to design a dog bowl that looks like this UFO. That way, if somebody records it, or they say they recorded it, we can say, oh no, it's just a dog bowl. So that's another thing to think about, is that maybe, because it's not a very practical design for a dog bowl. It like I said, it tips over, and it's not it wouldn't be a very good dog bowl.
Yes, I'm watching the picture now. I'm watching the object. In those cases, we always have to ask ourselves why people never get so close to the object. Okay, she can say she was afraid of getting close to the object, but I don't know, man. I cannot say that. But the blue light in the back of the object, maybe, no? Maybe you can make a parallel to the object who was in the sky. There was really a blue light in the sky in the region. I have videos of blue light in the sky. So, but we cannot confirm that. It looks like there is a white light in the front of the object too. I don't know. There is another white reflection in the front of the object.
Mm-hmm.
that reflection could be, it's probably from the camera, from the
Yeah.
mobile. And this reflect, for me, that reflect is very big for such a small light from the mobile, you know. I don't know if you understand, but if this was not a real object, it probably would be a relatively big object. It's not so small like this. So the flashlight from the mobile would be so small compared to this. I don't know, but
Yeah.
this is a case where we have to investigate. We have to study. We have to make investigations and calculations. I don't know. There is people. They have conditions to pick this image and to study and confirm if it was real or not. We have physicists. We have people specialized in photographs. They can tell us what is this subject, if it is true or it's fake. But as I say, we need to promote this case. We have to make this case more famous, as you know.
I agree. And then my last thoughts about this picture and this object is, you know, it's a very rare kind of dog bowl. Most dog bowls are not like that. They make them so that they don't tip over or spill. And then most of them are also not shiny like that. Most of them are what they call brushed metal, and they don't shine like that. There's a very rare do you get like a stainless steel one that is real shiny like that. They don't have a lot of dog bowls like that. And then did you notice the top of it? It looks like it's a little bit melted, almost like it got hit by some sort of really hot. You could almost, it almost looks like it got hit by an advanced weapon. The top of it looks like it's partially melted. I noticed that as well.
The top of the object, you say?
Yeah, if you look closely at the top of this, it looks
Yes,
like it's
yeah.
partially melted. So it looks like it got hit by something very, very hot, which makes it kind of, you know, these are the things that make it seem like it could be real. It looks like it got hit by something that could be like an advanced weapon, which is the top of it looks like it's partially melted. And then if you look at they say that this thing went down in the mountains or at the bottom of a mountain. Well, that looks like a really steep hill in the foreground. And then you got the blue light in the background. So it's just an interesting, and I agree, it does look like it could be a bowl. But when you look at everything all together, it's just hard to tell.
As I said before, I don't believe in crashing, some kind of crashing with explosion, you know, and total destruction of the object. In my opinion, it was some kind of fall from the sky. I don't know how to say the word, but it's like a plane. The plane go to the ground, eject, and go back to the sky. Some kind of malfunction. I don't believe it was a sudden crash, you know, with a violent crash. For me, it's very hard to believe in that because we don't have any kind of testimony about explosion in the ground, you know. It would cause some attention of people if some kind of explosion of that magnitude would happen. But the object specifically, the object for me, hearing what you say now, it deserves more study, right? I don't think it's a ball. Probably not a ball, but could be anything else that a person put it there, you know. But the light in the back is strange. I believe it's strange. And the top of the object, it's darky. It's a little black. I don't know. It's strange because there's no reflection on that. But what makes me not believing in this object is the light, is the flashlight from the mobile. I think it's not possible to make a reflection that big in the object with some small flashlight from the mobile, you know. But we don't know what the size of those objects. We don't know. Maybe the object was really small. I cannot say it was big or it was small. Maybe the object was really small and even possible to carry on a helicopter, you know, in the night. Maybe it's a supposing that, you know, because I have studied before other crashes in the USA, and I know that helicopters carried the object uh, with ropes, you know, some kind of the helicopter was able to carry the object, you know. In the night, people saw, but I don't believe it was a crash in this case specifically.
And then my name's Gabriel. And then they know me by Officer UFO 1. And we've been talking with Guilherme from Brazil, and I'm hoping to have you back on the show again. You gave us a lot of information. It was a very interesting conversation. I think the audience will appreciate it. And you said you're going to look into some more stuff to share as well. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we go?
Yes, I want to say that the ufologists here in Brazil are very serious professional. We know that there's a lot of fake videos, but we'll try some to do some kind of filtering in these videos to give to people in other countries a serious view in this case to so people can respect what happens here in Brazil in terms of ufology. You know, that's what I want to say. And thank you very much, Gabriel. I appreciate your time. I'm sorry for my English. I'm practicing my English. I am very good to write in English, but my speaking are a little rusty. You know. So thank you very much, man.
Guilherme, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Gabriel.
And I hope to have you on again.
All right, I'll be on it.
If you want to be in the live chat, what I can do is I'll premiere the video and I'll let you know. I'll send you a message in Discord, and then if you're available, you can be in the live chat. What time is it there in Brazil where you're at right now?
It's 11:34.
Oh, that's
I
not
think
bad. PM?
PM, right? PM.
That's very good. That means we're only 1 hour apart. It's 10:34 here, so that's good. We're in a pretty similar time zone.
Yes, it's good. So we can always be almost in the same time, you know, to talk and to make those videos.
Guilherme, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it, and I definitely look forward to having you on again. I'm going to get working on this and put it together, and then I'll upload it, and we can share this with the audience.
All right, man. Good night.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Take care, great girl.
All right, bye. And talking about this video of the alleged crashed UFO, Rick Barbosa says that one video is a dog bowl for sure. LOL. It's too close in proximity depth-wise with the light on the dirt. It's a dog bowl like 4 feet away. And you may be right, Rick Barbosa. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. And there was one more. Neil Tipton says, so, you're going to film the orb sitting there and not zoom in once? Question mark. I don't think so. And good point by Neil Tipton. You would think that somebody who was recording a downed object like that or UFO would get a better look at it with, you know, what's the point of recording it if you're not going to zoom in or spend more than 14 seconds. I think it was a 14-second long video. You would think that they may record, you know, for 30 seconds or a minute minimum. even if they didn't have a lot of time. Let's say the military was searching the area, for example, and helicopters were coming, but we don't hear that or see that, so you'd think that they'd spend more than 14 seconds. And yeah, I agree with Neil Tipton. Thank you for the comment. You'd think that they'd get a better look at it, and then that wasn't a very good look. And so it's a very mysterious video. And I just got some new information, just came in, where somebody says that people from the IMBEL Ordnance Company are talking. And they're saying that there was a crash on the property or near the property, that there were 12 ETs that were on board. 6 died in the crash, and 5 fled, while 1 was kind of providing cover fire and fighting back, you know, in a firefight. And that one, it looks like the information is that one may have been shot also. And we got that interesting information on the Was It Ist Das podcast website. That's Daniel Grothy's website. I talked about it in my last video, where he got the comment about 20 Special Forces soldiers, 10 of them from the U.S. Space Force and 10 from Space Aggressors 26th Squadron, commanded by Captain Barnes, who had a firefight, supposedly. So this information that's just coming in would confirm that, and it's saying that that there were 12 beings on board. 1 was in a firefight. Let me kind of back up a little bit. So 6 died. 6 ETs died. 1 was in a firefight with the U.S. forces, while 5 were able to flee. So that's new. Previously, we only heard that there was 3, and that 1 exchanged fire, and that 2 got away. So this is interesting. I'm going to try to get the person that gave me this information on the show. I've already reached out to them. And then the person's also saying that the ETs have a way of, through some sort of mental telepathy, of projecting images, apparently to the people who witnessed this. Some of the employees of the IMBEL Ordnance Company are reportedly claiming that the ETs are communicating with them telepathically and putting images in their head, I guess, for lack of a better way of explaining it. And it's the images that they're putting in their heads are images of the crash and of the incidents that unfolded. So that's very interesting. And again, I'm going to try to get this person on the show who gave me this information, and we can talk about it some more and actually hear it out of their mouth. Okay, so this is the area of southern Brazil that we're going to talk about, where Magé is. And Magé is part of Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro, I believe, is the state. And then Magé would be like a town or a suburb or city. It's got about 55,000 people. So I'd say that it's either a very large town or a small city. Probably falls under the category of small city. And then this is the property, the IMBEL Ordnance Company, where those explosions were heard. And I'm going to show some other footage of those explosions for you guys. We'll take a look at it. But this is the monument-looking sign. This is the gate that we were talking about in a previous video. And this is the property. So, let's see. Looks like if this area is gated off, which is kind of interesting. So if there's a gate here And then I thought I saw a gate. This looks like another gate over here as well. And I bet there's a gate somewhere around here. But of course I'm not very familiar with this property. But it does look like part of it's gated off, which is odd because these look like residences. And then these are cars, obviously. So I'm not sure how they'd get in and out of the gates. But anyway, I don't want to get off track, but it is interesting to look closely at this property, as closely as we can. And these could be residences as well. I wouldn't say that they definitely look like residences, like the way these do, and these buildings over here definitely look like residences. But it could be a private community. I'd like to ask somebody from the area more about this area. But this is the area where those explosions were, and supposedly there was some sort of a crash in this area. Whether it was a UFO or an escape pod, I guess it may make more sense that the escape pod, because now people are talking about an escape pod. Maybe the escape pod was what went down in Suburbo River. Other people are saying that there's no evidence that anything went down in Suburbo River, the way that there's evidence of something happening over here. Because over here we do have the footage, like I mentioned before, of the explosions and the smoke. And the only reason why I really was going back to this location and to Google Earth was to show what I'm getting ready to talk about next. And that's that there was a rumors, or actually I don't want to say rumors. I heard Daniel Groth talking about people who were injured being at the Virginia at a hospital in Virginia, and if unless I totally misunderstood him, and I'm not actually trying to put words in his mouth, but that was my understanding of something that I heard him talking about. And again, I haven't been able to interview him. He's very busy. He has his own show, and I'll still try to reach out to him and see if I can get him on my show for even just 15 minutes or a half hour. That would be great. I do have probably half a dozen questions at least that I'd like to ask him, but one of them would be more information about supposedly injuries that occurred during this firefight between the U.S. Special Forces, and I guess 10 of them were from Space Aggressors 26th Squadron that Captain Barnes commands, and then there was also 10 other Special Forces personnel from the Space Force. So now I don't know if supposedly well, obviously, I don't think it would be them that, if they were injured, I would think that they would end up, maybe not, unless the injuries were very bad, they would end up back in a U.S. hospital. But it's possible that if they needed treatment, that serious enough that they would go to Virginia, to a Virginia hospital. The only thing is, look at how far away the Virginia hospital is, and then it could have been Brazilian military who were injured and are supposedly at this Virginia hospital, or I don't know if they're even talking about ETs. You would think that they would keep ETs if they were treating them in some sort of for medical reasons at a military hospital. So there's a lot of questions. We don't even know if this information is correct, but I just want to show you guys Virginia from here is far away. I mean, that's 100. I measured it. You can see I made that line. That's 150 or so miles. And unless they have like a large military hospital here or something, or some special hospital here that they don't have there, in that area. I can't imagine them transporting injured, whether they're human or you know, Brazilian military, U.S. military, or ETs, unless it's a special military hospital. So a lot of questions about that, and whether it's even accurate information. They didn't really get into it very much. They kind of just mentioned it quickly, and then that was it. So this is the area of Suburbo River that some people are saying that there was a UFO crash, and certainly we had the information on Daniel Grothy's website from the military person, the Brazilian military person that was talking about this location. Supposedly this was leaked information, but my guest earlier, who was a caller from Brazil, was saying that from what he could tell, that there was no evidence of any crash in this area. And then he referenced the Brazilian ufologist. Okay. This location, supposedly this is where the ETs that did flee and were being chased were caught, or that where they fled to. And it's interesting because if you listen to all the stories and reports and witness reports from people in Brazil, a lot of them talk about a lake. And the only lake that I've seen that's connected to any of these locations is right here, this lake right here. So that I just wanted to point that out, that, you know, we hear them talking about a lake, and this could be the lake, because I don't see a lake near the Imbel Ordnance property. I don't see a lake near Suburbo River in the mountains there. But this location here, where supposedly the ETs fled to, it happens to lead right to this lake.
Barulho, gente! Ó, estão atirando. É teste de arma, será? Caraca, meu, cada coisa a gente tava passando ali em Fragoso. Tinha um poste estourando. Não deu tempo de filmar, porque eu tava tão apavorada. Estourou 3 vezes o poste. E a gente quase passou embaixo na hora. Ó, até aqui não tem militar nenhum. A gente deu a volta todinha aqui pela parte do sul. Ai, eu vou vir de novo. Depois a outra e tá saindo fumaça. Ó, tá escutando, gente? Será que isso é normal por aqui? Vou tentar o pessoal que mora aqui. Acho que estão explodindo o ET. Estão acabando com as provas, pra ninguém ver.
É o Walking Dead.
É o Walking Dead. Não, sério, será que não estão explodindo, não? A nave espacial? Ó, por enquanto, demos a volta em tudo. Já vamos sair daqui de parte de trás. Ah, meu Deus, que barulho alto! Gente, coisa maluca que tá acontecendo. Eu não vou desligar a câmera, vou dar uma pausa aqui. Agora a gente vai passar em frente à fábrica da Imbel, onde estava acontecendo aquelas explosões estranhas. Uns barulhos muito, muito altos. No celular não vai dar pra ouvir o barulho, mas era muito alto. Várias explosões. Caraca, virou ponto turístico, todo mundo filmando. Ele tá filmando lá dentro da fábrica, os barulhos que tá acontecendo. Estão vendo se vai ter barulho de novo. Olha, todo mundo vendo ali. Tá cheio de carro ali. Virou ponto turístico. Cadê os barulhos? Geral procurando o ET aqui.
Mataram o ET.
É bomba essa porra.
Eu só reconsigo mais esse ano. Já falta